Hello guys, this is Igor here with another video. Today I will be talking about the Yveltal deck list that I built. I choose to talk about this deck because, you know, Yveltal is always a versatile deck. It doesn't matter these formats, the previous one. But my list, of course, has some interesting decks that I used, and I'm trying to see what does work, what doesn't. I recommend you guys to test these decks. You can test them in another decks as well. See for yourself if they work, they doesn't. You know, there's always something about the decks that we can make them work. For example, the last year in Worlds, if every Yveltal deck played the Spirit Tomb, the one that shuts off the trainers, the expect cards, they would won so many games against Virizion, and the top would be different in my opinion. That's why I'm talking about this topic, you know. And also in our Portuguese community, in Worlds we played 4 cards in our deck that won us every plasma matchup. That was 1/1 Driftlim and 2 enhanced hammers. As you can see, some decks can impact some matchups, and today I'll talk about this Yveltal list because it's so tough to play Yveltal nowadays because there are so many counters to it. So I will leave in the description somebody that talks about the same topic as I am talking now. That is Bernardo Diaz. You can check him out, put a like if you like him. So let's go to the list and you guys will see the text. There you go, this is the list. So I'm playing 1 Darkrai because you need the Dark Cloak ability to retreat. Also the Night Spear is very good to spread some damage. And against Manectric is also a good EX. This list is very unique, as you can see. It runs 1 Alucha, 1 Ninetales, 1 Electrode, some Seismitoads, Keldeo, Jirachi, all sorts of stuff. But the reason I choose these kind of decks is because, you know, there's a lot of decks in this format that are good, and if you try to beat them, you will always have a bad matchup. In this case, Yveltal has a bad matchup against Manectric, also against Toads. I think that's why people are running Keldeo. So the unique things about these decks is 1 Alucha. Why do I play this card? Okay, I play this card, I can take it out if I want, but I choose to put it here because many of you guys have problems against Manectric in your area, and if you combine the Alucha with Silver Bangle and the ability that isn't affected by resistance or weakness, and you shut it off with Silent Lab, you can do 180 with just an energy. As you can see, you can take 2 easy prizes on the Manectric, not the mega one, but you can just, for 1 card in this deck, you know, can give you 2 free prizes. The Ninetales, here I play it because I play lasers. I love Ninetales nowadays, but it's tough to find a way to work with it because Bright Look can do the same as Lysander, but you don't need to play the supporter. The attack is very good, also X Flamed, because what this does is if you hit heads in a laser, you can just 20 your opponent for 1 energy. If you have the Verbank, you can do plus 30 damage, this means 150 plus the silver bangle or muscle band, you can do 170 or 180 with just an energy, and you can bring out anything without wasting a supporter in your turn. Also, I play Electrodes. That gives me some consistency in this deck because I run so many techs, as you can see, and it's also a good card against another Yveltal's decks because you just need one lightning and one DC to attack. I run 2 rainbow in this list, so I can use these decks. You just need to put them in your bench considering the matchup you're facing. In other words, you can play Ninetales every matchup and Electrode as well, but you don't need Yveltal in every matchup against like lightning types. You can rely on Ninetales to attack, or just Alucha, Darkrai, the baby Yveltal. Against Toads, that is a popular deck, you can go from bright looking their stuff so they miss an energy, also do your lock. So I played Keldeo so I don't be in laser locks, don't be asleep. As you can see, I don't play any switch. The reason I choose to play 2 super scoop ups is because I need to reuse Ninetales if I want. It can also heal my Pokemon. You can reuse Jirachi, take back my bench Pokemon that I don't want against some matchups. For Ultra Ball, because I need to get those decks out as soon as possible. Some of them. Considering the matchup you're facing, you have to know what to bench, of course. Like against Virgin Genesects, I don't want to bench any Seismitoads. I just need to bench my Yveltals, baby Yveltals, Ninetales if I want. Alucha, it doesn't really matter too much. Electrode is always good because its ability can give you some setup. More against Landros, Zubats and Crobats, you know. It's a kind of tough matchup, but I think you can win the matchup with Seismitoads plus Muscle Band and Laser Bang. You can knock out their Pokemon. I will talk about the matchups in a second, just ended up with the list. I played 3 versus Seekers. I know you could play 4 if you want. It depends in the decks in your area. If you know that Virgin Genesect is too much of a deal in there, you can also put here a Spiritomb to block the G-Booster. 1 Colress, 2 Lysanders, 1 Trump card because you need to reuse those lasers and those special energies that they will keep discarding you with Cherasig, Flagrants, Hammers and Enhanced Hammers. 3N because you can definitely take early prizes with this deck if you want to, or save some prizes for later in the game. 4 Junipers, 1 Scala, just 1 because you know you run 3 versus Seeker, you just needed to get that laser or that Verbang or even Silent Lab. Okay, the reason I play Silent Lab in this deck, I know it shuts off your Jirachi, Keldeo and your Darkrai, but it also shuts off your Alucha, their Suicuns, their other stuff like Zubats that can retreat. I play it because I like the Alucha combo with it, so I can knock out the mana tricks. I don't play it just to play, I like to conserve the Silent Lab just when I need to make a play. I don't always need to bench Keldeo as well, just if my opponent plays any lasers. If he does, I don't play Silent Lab because he also plays Verbank. I just save those Silent Labs. You have to be very careful with Silent Labs in this deck because it shuts off 3 of your Pokemon that you need. Those 3 are Darkrai, Jirachi and Keldeo. I could take one off and put one more Verbank, you know, but it's just a choice that I made. You can change the list if you want. Okay, 2 Verbanks. It could be nice to have the 3rd one, so I think you could do this in the deck. 2 Muscle Bands and 1 Silver Bangle. I played just 2 because I don't rely a lot in my EX Pokemons. I rely more in non-EXs to take some early prizes or easy prizes, so I don't need to have my unsafe Pokemons, because there are many decks that play lightning type Pokemons like Joltik in Nightmarsh, Manectric in some decks, like Attack as well. Darkrai, they can abuse also the Alucha combo with Silent Lab, so be very careful with benching that Darkrai. For DCs, I could play just 3 and 1 more Rainbow, or put another stuff in the deck. But it's just for the first turn. I can Seismitoads, Quaking Punch, and also to attach it wherever I need to. I'd play 4 to do more damage also with Evil Ball. As you guys know, it does 20 more damage for each energy you have, so against Groudon and things like that. And just 6 Dark Energy, because I play those 2 Rainbow. So I will talk about the matchups and things you don't want to bench against them. Like Toad, Jinx, Slurpuff or Garbodor, you don't need to bench some stuff here. These 3, you don't need to bench them. This one, I don't recommend you benching it in that game. I think you just need to rely on Darkrai, Yveltal, Yveltal X and Keldeo. And maybe Electrode, because they will disrupt you a bit. So you don't want to put those 3 and Seismitoad as well, because it needs a lot of energies to retreat and they can laser you. If you start Quaking Punching first with Muscle Band, you can win war, so yeah, it's okay to play 1 in your bench. If you don't, be careful, because they will discard your energies. Try to get as soon as possible Darkrai and Keldeo out. Those are the main focus that you have to consider against those. Against Landorus, you need again Seismitoad with Muscle Bands if you can, also lasers. It's kinda safe, because if they play a lot of Aluchas, you can go with Yveltal. Baby Yveltal is also, he also has resistance against fighting. Don't bench any Darkrai against them. They don't play any lasers, so you don't need the Keldeo Darkrai combo. Just discard them with Ultra Ball or something. Also Alucha, you don't need him in that matchup. Just to have a free retreater in your bench if you want to. As you can see, you don't play any switch. Against Dolphin, Groudon. Okay. You know, you have resistance against fighting, so Groudon won't be big of a deal. Evil Ball is just too good against Groudon. Against Dolphin, you can just pull them off with Ninetales or just 2 Lysanders, Versicolor. You have so many ways to pull them off to active position, so you can also one-shot them with Seismitoad, Muscle Band and Laser Bank to do 130 As you can see, Seismitoad does 30 plus Muscle Band 50 times 2 because of the weakness, 100, and laser with Virbank you can do 130. Ninetales can also, with one head in the hypnotoxic laser, it does 20 plus 50 for each condition, that means sleep and poison. 120 plus the poison damage, 130. You don't need the Virbank in play. Yeah, you don't need those Darkrai and Keldeo against that matchup. Be careful with your EX Pokemon, like benching Jirachi. You play 2 Super Scoop Up to reuse Ninetales, also reuse Jirachi, and to save some Pokemons that you start with. So, another matchup I will talk about is Version. Using Genesect in that case. Yeah, you can place here Spiritomb to be more easy for you. Silent Lab helps a lot against them. Don't bench any Seismitoad or any Keldeo, just if they play lasers, that I think they won't. Ninetales can be very useful against them. If you pull one Genesect or one Virizion without energies, you can one-shot him with the laser combo, or Silent Lab. You can just stop the ability of Virizion, so you can put anything poison. 20 plus the poison condition is 70, times 2 is 140, plus the poison 150. Yeah, if you have a Muscle Band, you don't even need too much of that. You can just, yeah, laser Muscle Band is 40 plus the poison 50, 90 times 2, 180. You can knock out everything in the Virizion Genesect deck. I think this wins the matchup for itself. I recommend you to test this deck. It's not that easy to play. It has a lot of decks. Against Nightmarsh, yeah, you play the trump card, so you have to be very careful with giving prizes. As soon as you can get the Seismitoad out and start putting pressure with Muscle Band and lasers and trump carding every turn with Verse Seeker, you can just win the matchup pretty easily. Also, Silent Labs shuts off the Mew ability, so they will have some difficulties getting their attacks out. You can also play Electrode. Be careful with Yveltals against that matchup. At least the EX ones, because Joltik can one-shot you pretty easily. So play the baby ones so you can knock out those Pokeballs with Oblivious Wing just for 1 energy. If you feel like you need more rainbows, play 1 more. I don't like the Lucha, just put it here so you can see you can fit anything here. Against Flareon, it's pretty much the same thing against the Nightmarsh. You need the Seismitoad, Muscle Band, you can one-shot the Flareon. If they play Stadium, you just counter the Stadium. Against Yveltal, you can, if they don't play Hammers, you can set up the Electrode to attack. Electro Ball is 60, plus the Silver Bangle is 90 times 2, 180. If you don't have the Silver Bangle in a turn, you can play Muscle Band. It does 80 times 2, 160. If you can get the laser 170, you can knock out Yveltals. Manectric, as you know, is the toughest matchup of any Yveltal, so that's why I put the Lucha here. So, but it's auto loss in my opinion. You have to be really lucky to do something about them, against them. So that's why the Lucha is here, so you can one-shot some Manectrics if you get lucky. Ninetales helps a lot against them as well. It seems like 1-1 Ninetales is a bad deck because you won't be getting them too many times, but You can also put 2/2. It's also very good. It gives you another Lysander, you know. It's not the... I think that's it about the deck. I will be making a tournament